everybody, and welcome to the show where after the collision, we sift through
the wreckage.
That gets me every time. I am your host, Jimmy T. He is my co-host, the best in the world, Jamie the Vet Williams, and he's the best in the world at fighting games too, but we'll get to that in a moment. And also our co-host, the magnanimous, the glorious Professor Chabelo, Vera, Cruz. Boys, welcome back to your guys' shows. And what a week it's been in AEW, shall we say. And we're going to see quite a bit of wreckage. But before we do that, I just want to point out some deaths, unfortunately, in the world of not just pro wrestling, but of course in Hollywood as well. I'm talking about Dennis Condrey and Chuck Norris. Boys, I'll start with Dennis Condrey first. Any stories that you could say? I mean, he's known for obviously the Midnight Express. I think he's been doing a couple of things outside of pro wrestling. More so, I thought. I could have sworn he started a few conventions over the years, but I could be wrong about that. But Vent, any thoughts on Dennis Condrey?
Well, I'm gonna hand it over to the professor for the majority of this one, because outside of just Dennis Condrey's matches that I've watched as part of the Midnight Express, I don't really know much about him, because when he left the business, he really left the business. Like, am I wrong? I don't. He stayed away from it for the majority of. He's not one of those guys that did a bunch of shoot interviews. He's not one of those guys that did the convention circuits and things like that. He basically stayed off the grid for a lot of it. So anything that had to do with him, I would generally hear Jim Cornette maybe talk about him and how he was doing here and there, because they kept in touch, obviously. But I think, Professor, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm passing the torch over to you, but like, not only did he leave professional wrestling, but he was completely off everybody's grid for like a period of time there. Am I thinking of him or somebody else? I feel like no one knew where he was for a while.
I think you got it half right, because again, Jim Cornette and Dennis Condrey had a great relationship outside. But the funny thing is, he did a lot of conventions with the Midnight Express. It was him, it was Cornette, it was Stan Lane, it was Bobby Eaton. So they kind of meshed together with all those convention appearances, and
But was that in recent years?
Yes, I would say in the last 10 years he did that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the times before that. When he was gone, he was so gone. I know he got back into the conventions later, but there was a period where it was like you could not find this guy.
I think he was just happy living, not off the grid, but just a quiet life, just getting away from pro wrestling. You're right. I never heard any kayfabe commentaries. He never really did a lot of shoot interviews. He stayed to himself. He stayed with his family. So yeah, you're right. That to a degree like that. So with Dennis Condrey, everybody knows the stories with the Midnight Express. I mean, one of the greatest tag teams in the history of professional wrestling, himself and Bobby Eaton. There's always a debate of which Midnight Express is better. So we don't need a long debate about that. Whoever you like, if you like the Condrey Eaton combo or you like the Eaton Lane combo, that's par for the course. But again, Dennis Condrey's part of that. But let's not forget the original Midnight Express from AWA lore that he did with Ravishing Randy Rose. So again, multiple time tag team champion in NWA, in AWA, in a world class, Mid-South, you name it. Dennis Condrey has been part of it. And of course, there's stories about his reputation behind the scenes, which why he left in 86 from his original Midnight Express lore, if you will, Jimmy.
Yeah. Fun little fact, their theme song, not only does FTR sort of have a remix version of it, but it's a play on Coast to Coast AM. I don't know if you guys know what Coast to Coast is, the radio show. Any idea? Have you guys heard of it before?
I only know that the music was an homage to the Midnight Express movie. So when you hear
wasn't it the title theme of the movie? Isn't that where they got the name?
Well, technically, it's made famous from Coast to Coast AM, which is like a conspiratorial sort of show that's been going on since the early 90s, I believe, if I remember correctly. I used to listen to it all the time. Have you guys heard of what's his name? George Nori, but he's not the one that started it. No, Art Bell. I was going to say, there we go. That's the name. Art Bell. Have you guys heard of Art Bell?
Yeah.
Now, there's Bin Humbin. There you go. You just said it. Art Bell. Exactly. RIP to him too. He passed away a few years back. He made that song famous, and of course, the Midnight Express also used that as well. Well, a remix version of it anyway. But RIP to Dennis Condrey, man. I mean, Prof, do you have any combination that's your preferred version of the Midnight Express?
You know what? You should appreciate the Condrey Eaton combo a little bit more than,
It's underrated.
It's very underrated in comparison to Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton, because as my co-host for the Pro Wrestling Reflection, Tommy Wonder would say they're the better combo because of what they did. They kept to the gimmick. They were, let's just say, more coordinated than Eaton and Condrey, because Condrey would just wear whatever the fuck he wanted. He would wear the green tights, and Bobby Eaton would just wear some like orange long leggings and shit like that. So they never felt like a real tag team combo in the eyes of Tommy Wonder. But again, that Midnight Express guys, they were gritty. That Midnight Express can go toe to toe with anybody. And again, underrated, Jimmy and Vet. Let's not forget Starrcade 86, Night of the Skywalkers. You see Dennis Condrey's face like this, so scared of heights. He played it off to a T. And again, the wars he had with the wars they had with the Rock and Roll Express, and I'm not talking about NWA, Jimmy. I'm talking about Mid-South. Them were bloody fucking feuds. And the wars they had with the Fantastics. And I'm not talking about the NWA. I'm talking about world class. Bloody fucking feuds. It's all, again, you can't deny Dennis Condrey's contributions.
That's a dream match that she'll have to make in 2K26, assuming you can grind the battle pass enough to get all the things you need to create a wrestler here or there.
That really pisses me off, Fit, by the way. That's just ridiculous. I can't play it because of that. But anyway, sorry. Continue.
And that's why everything the professor's saying right there, that's why it's so much more insulting when we have to watch FTR's blackface version of 80s tag team wrestling. Come
on. They paid homage. They paid an homage to the Midnight Express, the whole Midnight Express, not just Eden and Lane. They do pay homage to Condrey too. Again, the best tag team in 6 years, but after Sunday's Revolution, I might have to change that. But again, neither here.
Yeah, you might.
Just quietly, Prof. It wasn't their idea to actually use that as a theme song. I'm talking about FTR, by the way. So they actually didn't like it at first, and then they grew to like it, I guess. Maybe because they didn't like that it was paying homage. But whatever. The point is, like the Bin says in the chat, they're not the Outrunners, are they?
Yep.
Let's be honest. Yep. Come on. I prefer the Outrunners at this point.
Yeah, I could name a few tag teams, some of which are defunct right now, but
Yeah, no, but like I said, man, RIP to Dennis Condrey. Prof, I'm sure maybe one day you're gonna do a pro wrestling reflection about him, maybe. I mean, you guys have pretty much, but
we've run the gambit with Midnight Express. We've done.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You pretty much have. That's true. So that was a dumb thing for me to read.
There's always an episode I can find to pay homage to Dennis Condrey.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. But before we move on, how about Chuck Norris, man? I mean, for me, I first saw him in Way of the Dragon with Bruce Lee.
Oh, hold up, Jimmy. No. Chuck Norris did not die. Chuck Norris said, "You know what? I was called on by God to turn hell into heaven south. That's what his job is now. He's going down to hell and turning it to heaven 2.0 down south. So this way we can pick which heaven we want to go to, north or south. I'm going to go to south because there's a lot of fun people down south. But anyway, there. Just remember, Jimmy, Chuck Norris does a lot of things. He was given a mission by God. Turn hell into heaven again.
I hope hell has a lot of camera angles for his roundhouse kicks.
Hey, he's a former karate champ, man, over the years, back in the day. I mean, he's no slouch. You can say what you want about him. He did become a meme later on over the years, obviously. But, man, he was a beast. He was much loved. And, of course, how could you hate Walker, Texas Ranger? Come on, fellas. I mean.
Well, you could if you watched it. But, I mean, besides that, we're not here to disrespect Chuck Norris. We're here to honor Chuck Norris and his contributions to professional wrestling, in fact, like such as being the enforcer at the 1994 Survivor Series, I believe, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Didn't he almost kick Jeff Jarrett on that? Like, I'm pretty sure.
He did.
You did.
I know, but I was being a little bit facetious. Like, once again, we need those camera angles here and there. But yeah. So
it's an end of an era. That's
remember,
sure.
guys, Chuck Norris is the analogy of playing politics or actually, listening to creative. He agreed to die in Return of the Dragon against Bruce Lee. No other person would agree to do this stuff. This is what wrestlers today should understand. Chuck Norris agreed to die in Return of the Dragon. Even Chuck Norris like, what? I'm Chuck Norris. You know who I am? I kill people for a living. He agreed to this, Jimmy. Just remember, wrestlers today who complain about their spots, who complain about their payoffs, who complain about not getting TV time. Listen, look at Chuck Norris in Return of the Dragon. He agreed to die. And we all know that's bullshit. That's it.
Yeah, it's true. He did die in the movie. And that was a classic, by the way. Him and Bruce Lee, they were good friends as well. They even used to spar together. So, Chuck Norris is no slouch, but it is an end of an era when it comes to Chuck Norris, man. And I'm sure he will be missed. He died, I think, at 86, as a matter of fact.
That age due to medical complications. It was
really? See, they just said it was just some sort of medical emergency the last time I checked. But I didn't know why and how he passed away. So it was just sudden, right, Prof? What else do you know?
Very sudden. It was medical complications. Like you said, it was a medical emergency. So I think his family thought it was just more routine just to make sure everything was okay. But I think it was just complications that the doctors couldn't save him. So it was an abrupt end.
And before we move on, do you guys know how Dennis Condrey passed away? Is there any news about that?
I just know it was 74, if I'm not mistaken, 74 or 75. So it was kind of like a young 74. I'm a little bit shocked. I thought he was in his 80s. So, again, it could be just, the wear and tear, Jimmy, of a wrestler's life. You never know.
Oh, for sure, man. Definitely. Either way, RIP to both of them. They are both legends in their own right, of course. And from everyone here at HMG, we send our condolences to both families. But boys, now there's no point of getting into any real news. There's no real news going on right now in the world of pro wrestling. And we've got a big show to cover, to be honest, because it's not just your any day Wreckage. It is a Revolution edition of a Wreckage. And boy, do we have a lot of Wreckage to sift through, Vet.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's me.
That's you.
I'm pulling up my Revolution notes here.
Did you get a Revolution while writing these notes, by the way?
Yeah, that I need to find a new podcast. No, I would never stop doing this show with you guys. But there may be some news items that come up, but we'll just fold it into this as we get to it, because they're probably going to be some of the stuff resulting from this show or Dynamite or whatever the case may be as we go on talking. But if, for example, I'll bring those things up as they occur to me. But, we did have a 0 hour, and for once it was just an hour. Like, it wasn't a 90 minutes or a 2 hours. It was actually a 0 hour.
No. I would hate to correct you. It was a 0 hour and 10 minutes because it flowed into the pay-per-view.
Well, that doesn't count. That's just a bonus 10 minutes on your standard pay-per-view then. But we starting out with the Infantry. You remember them? It's the Infantry. They're part of Shane Taylor Promotions, and Shane Taylor came out with them, along with a never-before-seen tall drink of water named Christian XO, which I had to look up because I could not tell from the way the announcers were saying what her name was. So I had to Google this and find out. And of course, Trish Adora, always part of the Infantry. We all know that. Versus Big Boob and Titty. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's AJ and QT. Okay, sorry. Big Boom and QT. That's right. With the Fat Family and Aaron Solo for whatever reason that he's always out there. Lexi Nair during these entrances was over with Wayne Brady by the guardrail. We got a little Wayne Brady interview, which was nice. And at some point during this match, he ended up slapping Shane Taylor for getting in his face. So then Shane Taylor yanks him over the rail. Is about to beat Wayne Brady's ass. Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch, or is he gonna get choked? No. We don't have to worry about that because the older fat kid comes and spears Shane Taylor, which I'm sure we were all just loving it, and we were all glad to be a part of the wrestling business when we saw that. If anybody cares, they beat Carly Bravo. Professor, do you have any thoughts on this?
My thoughts. Poor infantry to be relegated to this comedy BS. And again, we just know what the Rizzler off. You know, I feel sorry for AJ Boone because he wants to be a wrestler. This is his dream, right? I mean, he has literally said this in interviews. Correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, he wants to be a wrestler. This is his dream. But this dream has been relegated to his kids, the Rizzler and whatever his justice is, to do spears, for the fat kid to do this, and that's it. And now you add, does Wayne Brady have to choke a bitch spot to Shane Taylor? Where is AJ Boone going to go? I hate to say this. I feel sorry for AJ Boone. But again, I feel sorry for the infantry, Jimmy. We said this last week. I said this last week. Who the hell does AJ Boone have? Again, unless it's Rocky Romero. Well, they found a second replacement. They found the infantry to do this shit. And of course, the infantry, you know, I'm a new member. How many guys remember my AEW, the international side? I can watch Ring of Honor all I want. That you know this. I'm happy for the infantry. They got their TV time for 0 hour, but again, Jesus Christ, man, comedy is great. Comedy works in certain instances, but you know what? You cannot repeat the same comedy over and over and over again because again, it actually hurts the opponents more than it hurts the act itself, Jimmy. That's the way I'll say it.
I agree with you. And I mean, geez, they've become pretty much the kings of the pre-shows for the pay-per-views. They're always there, month in, month out, it feels like. But Vep, what do you think of it anyway? I've got nothing to say about this. You know me, I don't usually catch the pre-shows, man. And I didn't again this time. I'm not going to sit there having to watch a 5-hour pay-per-view and then watch over an hour of this crap. I just can't do it, man. But I'm glad you guys did.
I mean, you know, if Wayne Brady said, what did the 5 fingers say to the face to Shane Taylor, I would actually pop for that. You know, just do some certain things. But then when he got yoked up into the right to the ring, that was some funny shit. Let's not, again, there's some positives, Jimmy. And, you know, I can spin some positives out of that. Wayne Brady was entertaining. I did like the Justice Spear. But again, for me, I'm looking at it just like Vet said last week. You got to look at clinically. What does that do for the infantry? They're the fucking either the ROH Trios Tag Team Champions or the ROH Tag Team Champions. They had a belt. They came in with a belt, Jimmy. I know you didn't watch this, but they came in with some ROH belt. What are you doing for the infantry? What are the positives? Well, they did their job. They got paid. Hopefully, for ROH purposes, they'll get booked more time, TV time. But again, as long as you live, I just said it a couple of minutes ago. Chuck Norris agreed to do something that no one would believe. So the infantry agreed to do something no one believed.
Well,
okay, I want to bring up a point because you already know what I think of this horse shit, right? It's
right.
Okay, but here's the thing that when we as whatever you want to call it, content creators, let's say, it's Jaime Media Group or anybody else, okay, sometimes we get a little caught up in the narratives. I like to always push back against the narratives because part of being responsible in content creation is to actually do your own research, to actually have your own opinions. Don't just regurgitate, what the echo chamber says. Don't take the vocal minorities, word as law. These are the things that I always preach to you guys. So I want to point out that one of the narratives that we always hear when we say, why do we have to keep watching this fat Costco family, embarrass the wrestling business, right?
Right.
The answer you're going to get, Professor, do you want to just give the answer? Not that it's your answer, but just that what somebody would say if I was to say that.
The floor, I want you to go with
okay.
Let's go with
They will say Well, they have a big social media following, and they're going to bring eyeballs to AEW, and they're going to help. They must put them on these 0 hour matches, to entice people to buy the pay-per-view. Which, let me tell you, the first faulty thing with that logic is, well, if I'm a fan of these people and not wrestling, I already saw it for free. And if I'm a fan of wrestling and not these people, I might decide not to buy the pay-per-view because this is the joke that you're selling me, right? So I want to point this out. That's wrong. This ain't Texas. So if we want to talk about who's bringing eyeballs to who, I was just asking. Now, you could take this with a grain of salt because I just had to quickly use Google. Okay, I'm not, they could be wrong about this, but you can verify it if you want. I was like, well, how many YouTube, like if we're just looking at YouTube, for example, what's their YouTube numbers? As of early 2026, whenever that was, they have 808,000 YouTube subscribers. Not bad. It's a respectable amount. It's not a million. Apparently they're getting their 1 million. By the time you hear this, maybe they've reached 1 million. AEW's YouTube channel has 4.85 million viewers. Who's helping who?
Fair point. You're right.
So why do we need to continue to give these guys the AEW rub? It's not the other way around.
No, you're right. Absolutely, you're right. Maybe because I guess Tony loves this family. Obviously, he's good friends with them. I mean,
that's fine. If that was the narrative,
right,
then that would be okay. If these guys personally, if he's one of the 808,000, and it's your show, you get to do what you want. So if you want to book these guys, that's fine. Just like WWE wants to keep booking Jelly Roll, fine, do it. But let's not let's not try to sound like we're smart to the business by regurgitating shit like, well, they have a big shut the fuck up. All right.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. Where's the Costco sponsorship?
You tell me, Lab Rat.
Exactly.
You tell me.
The only thing I'll say, and I'm not pushing back, Vet, is if I remember correctly, Jimmy, again, the number escapes me, but I remember the sickos on Twitter. That I'm not saying that these numbers justify it. I think they said like the spot where I think Justice spears Shane Taylor, I guess on their Instagram or TikTok, got 30 million views. That's all I'm just gonna say. Whether that's justified or not, 30 million views after that little spot. So, but if 30 million views is because of them, and they can only get 800 or 600 to 800,000 weekly, the math ain't mathing. So we're like Vet says, they only cared about that little spot, but they don't care about the AEW product to say, you know what, let's just watch it. Mm-hmm. That's a big drop off. If you go 30 million and then you get 600 to 800,000 weekly, because they don't care about the wrestlers. They only cared about AJ and Boom and his 2 kids.
And how can that happen? Because their TikTok following is actually, of all their social media, due to the research I just did 1 minute ago, their TikTok following is the biggest of all of their followings. Of all of their social media channels, that's the biggest one. And it's often the biggest one for a lot of people. Why? Because TikTok is a lot more prevalent in a lot more countries, not so much so than YouTube. But as far as the short form content videos and stuff that these dumbass kids like, right? And for the bot farms that everybody has, dude, anybody in these short form contents can get thousands upon thousands, if not millions of views. So even if you have somewhat of a presence, I have no presence, but if I upload a YouTube short of something that happened when I was playing a video game or something, like I'll get over 1,000 views on that short. I am nobody in the YouTube space. Let's be very, very clear. I think I have double-digit subscribers barely. I'm almost a single digit. Nobody watches my YouTube channel. I don't make it a YouTube channel. I just have a YouTube channel. But I have almost no followers. And if I post a YouTube short, it gets way more views than any actual video I could ever put up. So it's disproportionate because of these, view botted videos and stuff like that. So
right.
That's just why these things happen. But in any case, let's move on. Because we have Lena Cross versus Willow Nightingale. The funny note I had on this was during the commentary, Nigel sarcastically says, "I'm no Bryan Danielson." And then Excalibur weirdly responds, "No, you show up to work." And I was like, what is the shade coming at Bryan Danielson for? And from Excalibur of all people? That'd be like me cutting a promo on the Road Dogg. Like, what have you ever done in this business compared to, you know what I mean? So, Willow wins with a backslide. That's the important note, because she gets the backslide over. Then Megan immediately slides in and they kick the shit out of her until Harley runs in with her patented pipe to save the day and all that stuff. I mean, Jimmy, you didn't see it, but
no, I didn't see it, so I've got not much to say about it.
That was long-term storytelling, Ben, on two instances. We're going to see Excalibur against Bryan Danielson down the road. I don't know if it's all in. Don't quote me on this, but the other thing, which was very predictable, was we talked about this with me and Jimmy with our reviews and like our picks or predictions. I said that this would happen. You're going to split it, and then later on, we'll talk about it later. But Willow did the thing, won it, and then she got attacked, and then look at the Easter egg. They went after the ribs, and she got hurt and all that shit.
My ribs. Yeah. More on that later. Now we have the Blackjack Battle Royal. Luchasaurus drove the short bus in. Now that it's repainted to look like the Jurassic Park, little Jeep, we can definitely see it's the special education school bus. I know some people didn't get that when it was painted all black. They were very confused. I've heard very, very famous podcasters say they didn't get it. And I'm like, really? You don't? But anyway, so this started out, this battle royal, I was watching this. I'm like, is this the TNA reverse battle royal? Do they not understand how this works?
I thought that same shit too. They all fought on the outside for like 20 minutes. Jimmy, you didn't see this. I was like, wait a minute. Are they going to throw them?
It was crazy.
They're going to throw them in to throw them out. I was like, this is TNA. I was about to chant TNA, TNA, TNA.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they did.
You couldn't even tell who was in the goddamn match. Because of them fighting outside how many nights? I kid you not. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, and here's my notes, Vet. I don't know if you got this note, but we got a character change, Jimmy. Leo Rush changed his character. Do you remember him a couple of weeks ago, Jimmy? He was with the Crew. He was with Action Andretti. They were
Koopa jacket.
They were Koopa Troopers. Right. This motherfucker, Leo Rush, he went bald, got some contacts on his eye looking like the devil, and then I'm not going to say this right without getting canceled. Anybody ever saw Bloodsport from 1988? Okay.
I wasn't going to say it, but I thought about it.
You thought about it too. Do you remember the black guy in Bloodsport and the way he trained and the way he fought? My man Leo Rush did the same shit, and I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell happened on our? I'm a new member, Jimmy, of my AEW, so I don't know the long-term storytelling. But if you go from the Crew and Koopa Trooper, and then you go from the guy from the black guy from Bloodsport in 1988, we got a major character shit that no one was talking to me about. No promo yet, no nothing. So I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
No promo yet.
I wasn't going to bring it up here because there's more on this later. I was waiting for the slam dunk edition of Collision. But I was going to reference back to this battle royal when we got to that part. Okay. But yes, I definitely had a note for later because it's more relevant later. In this, he didn't really do shit, because like you said, with all the confusion about who got eliminated, who didn't, because everybody's still laying around the ring and whatever. It was very hard to follow. But the important thing is that at the end, it comes down to the two people you'd expect, Ricochet and Jungle Jack, in which Jungle Jack wins, new national champion.
I called it, Jimmy. I called it.
Professor called it.
You prick. I went with Ricochet if I remember correctly, but yeah.
Yep. So then this, of course, led to, side news item number one, which, it's been talked about already and everybody's already gone through it, and including us on the Next Level Wrestling review, Jimmy. But after this, Ricochet films the vignette backstage, not a vignette, just like caught on camera, like Ricochet flipping out. No, lost his thing. He's mad. He lost his title. He's smashing chairs against stuff, kicking stuff over, all this stuff. This prompts somebody that feels like she needs to already let everybody know she's a victim in her profile by saying she has MS, say he's not a good actor. And then he says, I'm glad you got MS, and then all this other stuff. And then everybody has a take on it, so we've all heard this. We've all done this. But this is where it all started.
Can I ask, did this happen after this match or before the match?
After.
With all those,
everything was
yeah, after him losing the title.
Okay, all right.
Why would it have happened before the match?
See, Jimmy.
No, because he lost the title.
To abbreviate what Vet said, I'll say this in layman's terms. You know how I'll say this for myself. I'm not speaking for Vet. I'm not speaking for you. I applaud Ricochet being in character on Twitter, just fucking with people, fucking with the mark cards. But it's a drug, Jimmy. Sometimes you gotta watch what you say. There's a difference between playing with the mark cards and then overplaying with this woman. I'm not even saying that she's, does she have MS? I don't know. But
yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. But don't mess with it because somebody else on Twitter might have somebody they know with MS. So you just lost it. You lost the plot. You lost what the motive for yourself to get yourself over on Twitter when you go to the umpteenth level. That's all I'm just saying like that. He fucked up. He might get fired. And there is something called a morals clause. When you're in AEW and you're in WWE, the two biggest promotions in the world, there's a morals clause. Even though you're an independent contractor, Vic, I understand this. But you're signed to AEW, you're signed to WWE, and you're supposed to be predicated to a morals clause. WWE makes sure you try not to toe that line morally, especially on Twitter. AEW is a little bit lax on that. So they better get their legal team on that morals clause. You signed it, now you're fucked.
But you see, I think if it happened while he was with WWE, I'm not sure if there would have even been talk of him being fired, in my opinion. I think they might have let that slide, per se.
Well, he wouldn't have done it.
Wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, well, that's true, too.
He just wouldn't have done it because, like I said, he knows what he's doing for the most part. He's either a genius or he's just accidentally a genius. Either way, whether he's a shoot genius or just an accidentally a genius, he's a genius. And I'll tell you why. You know how I always say a heel can't be wrong? This is a good example of it because he said what he said, regrettably or not. He said it, right? So now he's forced to apologize. According to Dave Meltzer, if you want to believe it, but he might know, it was a friend who encouraged him to take the tweet down. Not that Tony told him to do it. That's what Meltzer says. So if it was somebody else for the same reasons that Professor is laying out of like, well, I don't think you should do this because other people have this disease and this other stuff, so it's insensitive to them and maybe you should take it down. So he has to do an apology, right? Now, the apology on its own, that works too. Because if you're a heel, what's everybody saying about his apology? Man, somebody made you write that. You didn't write that. You don't mean it. You're insincere. Fuck you. I hope you die. He just said, I'm glad you got MS, which she already has. Now they're wishing that this guy who's alive is dead, but somehow that's a worse, somehow that's not as moral, whatever. So, but the point is, even in apologizing, that's perfect for being a heel. Because nobody believes your apology, so it's still fine. Everything he does is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Or if he didn't apologize, it's fine. Or if he would have done what I would have done if I found myself in this situation and wrote the exact same apology, is like, I want to apologize because other people, may be afflicted with this disease. Except for Sandy. I'm glad you got MS. Like I would have put that at the end of the apology. Just things like that. There's many different ways to go. But anyway, that's where that all started, in case you guys wondered.
Me personally, I wouldn't have been offended. Even if I had MS, for example, I would have been like...
Yeah, and there's people with MS that aren't offended, and there's people with MS that are offended, and there's people without MS that are offended. So, whatever. Just like everybody on this planet's different. That's what makes it great.
Yeah. No,
so this bleeds into the main show, like you said, Jimmy.
Yep.
Which I love how, they have the pyro going off, like,
It reminds me of Nitro hour number 2 during the middle of a
match. Yeah, just like, come on. But that's probably what inspired it in the first place, right?
100%.
Jack hits I remember what it was. He hit a poison rana on the apron. Ooh. So Ricochet shouldn't have even been cognizant enough to be upset backstage. He should have been carried out on a stretcher, but regardless. So that happened. And then we get to our technically first match. And I can't wait to hear what the professor has to say about it, because it's going to be mostly him, even though I do have some notes. First, we're starting out with a family photo album. Let's put this on the screen. Let's tell the story. Let's tell the storybook with a photo album of the young Bucks. And not only the young Bucks, but the children of the young Bucks. How the generations have passed down. They're probably similar size at this point, but we're still enjoying, this story and a voiceover with the children, the actual children. I assume it's the actual children. You couldn't have gotten, worse actors if you wanted to. So it had to be the real children. Yes, we have this beautiful package to introduce this match, and then we get to the match. It is the Young Bucks versus FTR for not only title of the greatest tag team in the world, but to a lesser extent, the AEW Tag Team Championships. Professor!
Oh, God. I'll say this, Jaime Knight. If you saw their first one on Dynamite, if you saw their second one on, what was it, All In, if you saw other episodes of their fights, what was it? This is like their 5th fight, supposedly on AEW television.
I bet it's been more than 5.
No, but there's nothing different. There's nothing different than all the other 5 matches that we saw. So I'm going to try to be as objective as I can, because I still say, and I still believe that FTR has been the best tag team in the past 6 years. I still believe that. I know people won't agree with that. I know.
Nobody agrees.
I'm just saying. But this is the same match I saw in 2022. This is the same match I saw in 2024. This is the same match I saw this past Sunday. I forgot how many near falls. There's nothing wrong with near falls. Near falls is what it is. It was just the point of the near falls was, FTR kicked out of the BTE trigger, and then the Bucks kicked out of the FTR's big move and all that shit. And then at least we got a hallelujah moment, because Stokely, who was in a wheelchair, confined to a wheelchair, guys, and Jaime Knights, finally got up. He was blessed. Jesus' ray of sunshine hit Stokely's legs, and he got up and helped FTR in their moment of need and all that stuff, Jimmy. And of course, what did I tell you, Jimmy? The Young Bucks were gonna lose to Yeah, you was wrong. I was right. I couldn't believe I was right. I actually was making myself lie on this one.
They're gonna win. Come on, bro.
They were gifting a win to the FTR. Now, this is where I was laughing at Jimmy. I was laughing. I was like, I can't believe I got away with this shit. And then the lights went off. And then who do we see after 6 months but Edge and Christian? And then this is where I got mad, Vet. This is where I literally got mad, because you have literally blessed me to be on this platform, guys. I thank you for this. But what I've been talking about for 6 months, I've been actually asking for Edge and Christian to do something against FTR. And then supposedly, the sickos, Jaime Knight, said, well, this is long-term storytelling, bro. No, it's not. This is not long-term storytelling. because Edge and Christian beat FTR months ago. Edge and Christian wrote themselves off, whatever the case may be. If it was movie commitments, I don't care what it was. But the last time I remember, FTR took out Beth, and that was it. And then they were so disheveled mentally. We talk about Edge and Christian how many nights? Let me talk about this. The master manipulators, they have done some dastardly things, and they were mentally weak to be off for 6 months. And I'm talking about AEW television. So now the lights go out. You hear the song. Edge comes out from the curtain, and then Christian sneaks up from behind. And then this was the stupid shit. He maces Cash Cashton, and Cash could not act good of getting maced. This is where I lost it. And now, because I said this, Jimmy, Tony Khan does not storytell. He just books matches. So we know where we're going with this. So right. you see the belts on the floor. You see them pick up the belts. Now you see 3 elements. You see 3 teams. Supposedly, I'm supposed to mark out for Edge and Christian, FTR, and the Young Bucks. They're all gonna clash for those AEW tag teams. No, I didn't. I got mad because I want consistency, Vet. I wanted consistency for the past 6 months. You excused it with these bullshit tag team title matches that FTR had to go through. And I've been trying to defend FTR. You can't turn chicken shit into chicken salad. And FTR has tried to make it into chicken salad. But I can't defend this, Jaime Knight. That's why they call me the most objective man. It was a match I've already seen. It was a result I didn't really care for, and now the conclusion is just a match that I'm not really going to be excited for Dynasty. Vet, the floor is yours. Need I say more?
Not really. Number one, if you're upset because you want consistency, that's your own fault at this point. I can't really blame anybody else. It's the definition of insanity, they say, yada yada cliche.
ProWrestlingTees.com. I want consistency.
Yeah, so yeah, like you said, it's every match ever. It's also blood match number 1. Now you said 5 matches, right? Did you end up making a count? Because I started a count, and then I think maybe somewhere along the way I lost count. So you guys are gonna have to help me along with the matches that had blood.
I know this match, and then I know the Texas Death Match definitely had blood, and I think
there's another one in there. There's at least 3, but I forget what you called on your predictions from last week.
I think over under 5. I said.
Which one did you take though? Did you take over or under?
I think I took the over. I thought it was
okay. Well, let's try to keep that. I'll tell you one thing I liked about this match. I was sure. Because there's a spot in the match where let's see, where is it? I think it was Nick. Yeah. I think it was Nick. Nick was taking some heat, right? And then he made his own comeback because they had taken Matt out. So Matt wasn't available for a tag. So Nick made his own comeback. And then when Matt finally got up on the apron, he bumped one of the guys one more time right before he tagged. So he completely killed the hot tag. And I was like, oh, no need to worry because they're going to do a second heat anyway. And we'll get another chance at the hot tag. But I was surprised because they didn't. They went straight to the part where they all just buried the ref and stayed in the ring forever and kept kicking out of stuff. They didn't bother to do a second heat. So I was proud that they had actually done that. You know, I was happy. It was something a little bit different for these guys. So yeah, I appreciated that. I appreciated the fat bald brother throwing coffee on Axon. That was funny. But yeah, like you said, everything else pretty much the same.
We've seen this exactly the same way, even with the Bucks family being there on the outside and all the shenanigans going on there. This was a carbon copy of their past match, man.
Mm-hmm. Without that second heat. So that's the part that's the part I liked. And again, what about you, Jimmy? That's pretty much your thoughts on it. Just same old shit.
Yeah, it's the same old shit.
Jimmy, I'll just say this, and then you go. Even the premise for this match, the family honor. I keep saying, don't glaze me with the bullshit. I can't discount what they were as EVPs last year, and then being broke bucks, and then now I'm supposed to cheer for them with empathy. Sorry, Jimmy. I'll just go ahead.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can't say it any better than that. You're spot on. But what I was going to say is, it was just pretty much the same shit that we've seen already. The match wasn't too bad, right? It was fine for what it was. But I just can't get into these 4 guys anymore, man. Like, in a match, I want to see something different. But put all that shit aside, it was fine for what it was.
Well, yeah, the one thing it had going for it was that, it seemed obvious who was going to win, but at least there was some doubt. So basically you have to sit through it just to find out, okay, which one of these guys is going over. It's not like the match itself is going to provide you any real drama because, again, it's the 5th time. So whatever. But at least there was some doubt, like who will win? Oh, it is actually FTR, surprisingly. So there you go.
I was convinced the Bucks were going to win 100%. Like, but we didn't get that.
So, next is Marina Shafir versus Toni Storm.
Oh, go ahead, Fed. I'm just.
Well, I was just setting it up.
This match
should I just? The professor's tagging in. He slapped me on the back and tagged himself in.
I'm just gonna say, Jaime Knights. This match pissed me off logically, and because of all the stuff that we've heard after the fact. Jimmy, this is the same thing. The injuries and shit like that. This was a tailor-made moment for Marina Shafir. You could have done, and I don't want to use the WWE, but you could have done the Brock Lesnar, John Cena Summer Slam 2000. You could have You could have actually wrote her off for months,
especially that she got injured, right?
Right. So she could have been injured coming into this fucking match, but I didn't get that, Vet. I'm sorry. Maybe I looked at it from the wrong glass. I'm a glass is half full kind of guy. I looked at it from the wrong glass that I drank all the rest of the shit. But again, Tony Khan depended on Toni Storm, and then she won with I think it was just it was one of those surprise
big
wins.
package.
It made no sense. And then after the fact, because they were in California, who comes out? Ronda Rousey. Now, is she all elite? I don't know. Is this a one-off just to promote her fight coming up on Netflix?
It's a one-off, by the way.
I don't care. But it ruined Marina. I hate to say that. To me, Vet, I hate to be that marker to say something is ruined, or I'm not saying she's buried, but you ruined a moment for Marina. This could have been a statement moment for Marina, like I said. But then if you want to use Ronda Rousey for just again, social media, right, Vet? Social media, she gets clicks. She's got a social media presence. For what? You messed up Marina's long-term storytelling just to give Toni Storm a cheap win. And then, of course, we'll talk about down the line of what they're trying to do. And I think they pivoted. That's my opinion. But they wasted a moment. They wasted an opportunity.
Perhaps. So, I mean, I don't know all the details that went into this beforehand. As far as Ronda goes, my intuition tells me because this pay-per-view's in her backyard, she just wanted to show up.
Was it all because
I don't think it was anything other than that. I mean, I'm not saying that nothing else will come of it. I'm saying for now, when people are speculating, oh, is she going to do? Don't worry about what she's going to do right now. This here at Revolution was because it's local. If she would have had to travel, she wouldn't have done this. So that was that. But here's the thing. Whenever that came together and however long ago they set that up, when, all the pieces were in place, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there. You want to come in and do this spot, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Whenever they set that up, did that affect the booking of the match? Because if Marina wins this match, you don't need Ronda to come in the ring.
Oh.
So they could have said, okay, let's switch the finish where Tony goes over and then Ronda comes in, and now we have some intrigue here. We get a Tyson Austin, and then there you go. Because that's basically what this is. This is a Tyson Austin for women, I guess. Or it would be if, Tony Storm had been treated a little bit better. But I mean, I guess she's somewhat close to a Steve Austin in AEW women's division at this current point in time. So, yeah. Unfortunately, apparently, probably sometime in this match, she got hurt.
She did.
And she is reportedly out for 2026.
Yep. Out of the whole
Which
deal.
means that's something that's really bad. I don't know if they've actually come out and said what it is at this point, but that's quite an injury. That's something I would expect to be like an Achilles or something spinal. Like this is a big injury. So whatever plans they might have had is going to have to wait even longer. But as far as like giving Marina a moment or a statement, they wouldn't have been able to capitalize on it anyway. So ultimately, it's a moot point.
It is.
You know,
Because and especially even if there was no like, oh, we can't use Ronda until at least after her fight, or Tony Storm's not injured. Like even in with both of those cases, they were going to screw it up. But then you also have those two things. So regardless, it was never going to go any other way. So looking at it in hindsight, the result of this match does not matter. But now we do know that there is a counter to the titty suck, which is the titty bite. And everyone going forward can now exploit this that they all should have thought of immediately.
Right, exactly.
Well, technically, Marina doesn't have enough of a titty to bite. I'm just saying.
That's true.
It worked on this night. It worked on this night.
Just say.
So we transition from this as we get the Ronda comes in and we get the pull apart, and then Marina hits a sucker punch on Tony. So yeah, if anybody knows in the chat or can find out what actually in the match caused an injury, because I didn't notice when I was watching it, so couldn't tell you that. But all this shit's happening. There's chaos. Ronda's getting escorted out, but Jon Moxley's coming in, so they pass each other, fist bump, whatever. And he's coming from out of his usual tunnel to face Takeshita in our
A second blood match, by the way.
Yes, I was going to say that. Not only is it the Continental Classic match with no time limit, but there is blood in this match as well. However, it was made clear the only rule change was the time limit. No one was still allowed to be at ringside for this match. No one was allowed to interfere in this match.
I'm left confused after this match, just quietly, boys, as you get into it, Ben, and I'll say why when we.
Well, I mean, what do we really want to talk about? Moxley chokes him out. I mean, it's very anticlimactic and disappointing, even if you wanted Jon Moxley to win. It's not great, but, what are we going to
now? Is he a babyface or a heel?
No. Okay. So that's a bigger question that we all like. We can address that. We can address that later.
Yeah, should I rant now, or you want me to?
No. Well, let me run through the sequence of events, and then you can break down as you see fit. Okay. So let me just get it all out there so everybody knows the results.
Get it.
Okay. So he chokes him out, but there's sportsmanship and a handshake. They respect each other. Okay. Well, I'll tell somebody that doesn't respect them, because the lights go out and then they play a video of Will Ospreay in a science lab from a horror movie. But I'm sure when he was explaining what he wanted in this video, he was probably thinking of like Dragon Ball Z, where they're in that tank. They're in that tank that takes them forever to recover, from their injuries in or something. He was probably thought he was going to be like Vegeta coming out of this tank, but it really just looked like a sci-fi original movie. So anyway, he comes out of this tank. He's ready to kill everybody. He comes out with a song. He attacks all of the Death Riders, beats them all up single-handedly, and Jon Moxley runs after. I mean, he was standing there in the ring, and Will Ospreay took his head off with a hidden blade, which was awesome. And then eventually, he kicked everybody's ass, and then they all ran. Now,
just quietly, by the way, Will Ospreay looks so much smaller, man.
Damn it! You would have thought he would have absorbed some of that water into his skin, but apparently, apparently not. Professor, please.
Vet should be mad. Vet should rant because he called the right decision, Tony. Vet and I agree that Takeshita should have won. Jimmy, I know you're happy.
I never had an opinion.
Yes, he did. He just, I can read minds. I have that ESPN on that. But anyway, neither here nor there. But
ESP, you mean?
No, ESPN. It's very succinct. But anyway, neither here nor there. But Takeshita should have won. The problem was the logic. You know how many nights to go back on the right way to do a double turn, and the best way, and the best example of a double turn.
Double turn?
You could say was WrestleMania 13. We saw a switch between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin in one shot at night. Now, in this match, Jimmy has been saying for 6 months how John Moxley has been this good guy, which I never agree with.
I'm not tripping.
Which I never agree with. I never co-signed, and I always retorted back by reminding people. And how many nights I hate to be that, I hate to keep saying the same shit over and over. But again, I need consistency. Hashtag I need consistency on my shirt. But anyway, the man almost murdered Daniel Bryan. The man threw Darby Allin down a flight of steps.
He did.
And again, he held a title hostage. And then for some strange reason, for the Continental Classic, it was almost like, a rejuvenation. It was a rebirth. It was almost, he cleansed his sins. And actually, he was fighting with honor to a point. He was almost the Ring of Honor Pure Champion without being the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Then after he chokes out Takeshita, which I was like pissed, he shakes his hand. And then this is where it gets kind of funky. Once the lights go out, and then you see a recycled version of, like Vet said, of, Vegeta, whatever, the Pokemon, whatever that anime shit is. We saw that months ago with fucking Luchasaurus and Jungle Jack Perry. The same kind of, I'm getting fixed up in the lab. Again, use some consistencies here. But again, once the music played, now I'll give this a pass, Vet, because there was a story. Death Riders did in storyline take out Will Ospreay. They did injure him. I can go with that. But Jimmy, you've been telling me about this babyface, John Moxley. Everybody else in the Death Riders have been heels. They've never changed their spots. A leopard never changed their spots, but John Moxley kind of did. After a shake of the hand, did you instantaneously see how he just turned into a heel? In a matter of seconds, he went from handshaking with honor to then being a chicken shit heel, all in a span of 30 seconds. Vet, I understand a double turn, but it should be succinct. There should be levels to this. We're talking about seconds, maybe even milliseconds. What happened, Vet? That's all I'm saying. The wrong person won. And then if you want to go with the Will Ospreay thing, which is fine, now he's going to chase. Now he's going to do what Darby Allin did in 2025. Go after the Death Riders. Go after them one by one on Dynamites and Collisions and maybe Double or Nothings. He's got to get revenge on Daniel Garcia, Will Uter, Pac, Claudio, and then John Moxley would be the last guy. Hopefully it's not for the Continental Championship because people have pegged Will Ospreay to be the, to go into All In, challenging and maybe even winning the AEW World Title. So you're going to I guess you're going to give me intrigue, Tony. You're going to try to pull a swerve on fans because you don't want the obvious to happen. I know, Jimmy. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Vet.
One of the things that made the WrestleMania 13 match with Steve Austin and Bret Hart so nuanced and memorable is if you take WWE's revisionist history out of it, where we have this narrative now that it's one of the greatest double turns of all time, and if I take myself back to being, a young vet watching from home that pay-per-view, I never felt there was a turn. I mean, Bret Hart had been antagonized for months on end by Steve Austin. And Steve Austin got what he deserved, in my eyes. So, him keeping the sharpshooter on doesn't signify a heel turn to young me. But if you let people say that for months and months and years and decades, then that becomes the history. That's why it's important. That's why it's important to remember how things were at the time.
So you're saying that this was unintentional at the time?
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that. I don't necessarily believe they went into that thinking that. Or maybe they were thinking this is going to do something for Steve Austin. But I don't know if they necessarily thought it was just going to automatically make Bret Hart a heel. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe people can call me crazy. But from my vantage point, I didn't change my opinion of Bret Hart based on those actions. But the fact that we can have a conversation about it means that the nuance is there and it's open to interpretation, and the way things played out, that's it went in a way that kind of made sense. And Steve Austin didn't really change who he was, even though Bret Hart kind of did.
He's right that the fans made that the double turn.
Yeah. But people act like, the moment that happened and people act like, for example, I'll give you an example of how the revisionist history goes. When people talk about the history of Steve Austin, when WWE retells that history on all their documentaries and all their bullshit packages and all this stuff, they always make it seem like Steve Austin won the King of the Ring, said Austin 316, and then he was just a raving babyface or whatever. Well, how many months was it from June of 96 until, whatever the next year, 1997, when that WrestleMania happened? He was a heel all that time. Steve Austin was still a booed heel for all of that time, including him talking shit about Bret while he was gone, that led to their first match at Survivor Series of 96 of that year.
You put the letter S in front of Hitman. That's what he thought of him.
So once again, the revisionist history clouds our memories or whatever, but they were able to read the room, make the changes, and have things play out in a way that was palatable to all of us so that we can now believe the revisionist history. There will be nobody in the future that will be able to go and look back at Will Ospreay, the Death Riders, this whole saga, and talk about the brilliant storytelling that there was. No one will remember. People barely remembered why Will Ospreay was so mad at the Death Riders in the first place. I'm not saying nobody remembered, but I'm saying I heard people, try to remember. Hey, what did the Death Riders do to Will Ospreay? Same thing they did to everybody in the company. But to say this is a double turn, or it was meant to be a double turn with Takeshita and Moxley, I don't think it was ever going to be that. And I don't think they thought it was going to be that.
I didn't say it was Takeshita double. This was actually a Moxley double turn. He went in this match where people were cheering for him. He went into this match fighting with honor. After the match, he shook his hand, and then the lights go out, and then he turns into a heel. Instantaneous. That's he's the double turn, not Takeshita. Takeshita had a story that's already been ruined because he didn't win the title. That's from last week from what I said. That's all I'm saying.
And not any heel, prof. A chicken shit heel on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you really want to look at it, it's either Jon Moxley pitching an idea, which proves that he doesn't understand anything, or somebody gave him that creative, which would only be Tony, and he went with it and didn't have any problems with it, which means he doesn't understand anything. If you disagree with this, you got to use your star leverage to push back. they kind of paint themselves in a corner because this whole thing with Jon Moxley supposedly being a babyface, which let's be very, very clear. Jon Moxley is not a babyface. A babyface is not how the fans react to you. A babyface is what you do or don't do. That's always the way it is. The fans can cheer whoever they want. You know, if they cheer a villain, that makes them a villain who gets cheered. It doesn't make them a babyface. They have to change who they are to become a babyface. Jon Moxley just does whatever. And if he runs with the same crew and they still do the same things, you know, with the gang mentality and all that, that's always going to be heel behavior. Especially when now you have whatever you have with Jon Moxley going on, you have to have Will Ospreay come back and attack him now because they took him out before all this shit happened. So Will Ospreay would look like an idiot. Do you think Will Ospreay cares who's a babyface? If this was real, if these guys took him out of action, he'd come back for him. But it wasn't even really that, you know, it was like if you guys want to, do either of you guys remember what happened the last time Will Ospreay was in the ring?
You got beat up.
No, I'm just, but the whole situation. Do you remember, Jimmy, or do you remember, Professor?
This is that cage match in London. They won, and then the Death Riders just closed the cage or locked the cage from all the other people. I forgot who his tag team partners
were. Couldn't jump over. Remember, they couldn't climb up the cage and
something like that. And they were working on the neck storyline wise.
Yeah,
storyline wise, because as a shoot, Will Ospreay decided he needed to come out and say that he needed to go away and get surgery.
Yeah, what an idiot. I remember now, right?
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember that part where he said, I got to go away for a while, guys. I got to get this surgery and all this other stuff.
And
right?
Then he gets beat up.
And then he had to say, like, they're going to let me do this match, this cage match, even though it could kill me or whatever, you know, whatever he said, you know? And so he killed that, but that was the original reason. So they did an angle where, you know, after I'm pretty sure they probably won the match. Will Ospreay's team probably won the match, right? Was that the one with Tanahashi? Didn't they let him win it?
Yeah, it was with Tanahashi, right?
Oh my God, remember that? I just remembered that. So, you know, there was that, and then they do the angle afterwards where everybody's out the cage and they're trying to climb up, and the Death Riders are keeping them out while they kill Will Ospreay, even though Will Ospreay already told us he was leaving to get surgery.
And to top it off, their guys were climbing into the cage, right? But for whatever reason, Will Ospreay's fans couldn't climb a freaking cage anymore. And I just want to point out with the Bret Hart Stone Cold thing, the one thing where I thought it was purposely done, I just wanted to say because it was on my mind, it's because he didn't give up, man. That's, you know, that's right. Where I think the babyface turn really happened. Obviously, that's why I think it was meant to happen, personally. But I see where you're coming from too, Vet, which is interesting as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, regardless. But yeah, so whatever this is a mess. There's no way to clean it up. It's way too much, and we're all too short attention span, and we're just got to move on to the next thing. So that's really it. And we do too, because we have Renee with the Babes of Wrath, and Willow is suffering after her, you know, beat down from earlier, but she has been cleared. So don't worry. And then we go into our match, and we have a new tag team name for the Mega whatevers. It's Divine Dominion. And I guess that's an apt name because domination is exactly what happened in this. This was a collision squash on the tag team champs, and your new champs, Divine Dominion. Who says they can't do a pay-per-view match in under 12 minutes?
Well, it was a great thing to see. It was under 12 minutes. Number one. Number two, maybe this is because they had to pivot because of Penelope Ford's injury. So again, we all felt like Megan Bayne was going to have these tag team titles. So kind of got the Marina Shafir kind of domination here that I didn't get from the Marina Shafir match. So I got the domination that I wanted, and of course, you know, the Easter egg of Willow being hurt, and then Harley Cameron having to some of the heat. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, she finally sold for Harley Cameron finally sold for Megan Bain. I've been waiting for this.
She needs to become a new member of the Iconics, man. She'll be perfect for it. Not because she's Australian. It's just the way she is. She'll totally suit the group.
I think they've already been released, so it's okay. We don't need to worry about that anymore. But all right. So moving on to the title of the fake title of World's Most Dangerous Man. We've got other people competing for World's Most Dangerous Man on other shows, but the kayfabe World's Most Dangerous Man is Swerve Strickland versus Brody King here in a regular match. And Bryan Danielson joins the commentary desk. So I don't know what Excalibur was really talking about when he was talking that shit earlier, but Danielson's here.
And just quality blood match number 3 now.
Oh, is this another blood match?
I'm pretty sure it was, if I can remember correctly. Wasn't it, bro?
I don't remember, but I don't know if it's because I forgot to write it down or because it didn't happen.
I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong, but I recall.
Maybe Brody did bleed, but it was Swerve didn't bleed.
No, not Swerve though.
We can all just skip to the end of the match and find out if anybody's bleeding at the end of it and see.
Personal, by the way, even though it was a normal match.
What?
Why is this match so personal, even though it was a normal match?
Because Brody King is arguing that he's more dangerous.
Okay.
Look,
whatever.
if you're gonna, if they're okay, look, I don't have a problem with this. If you are going to have an identity, and someone else is going to come in and just say, "Hey, I'm that," okay, I can see how you could make it personal out of that. Now, these guys had to work, though, within the confines of a match with rules, which, frankly, I thought they did an interesting job of that. I use the word interesting more so than anything else. I thought they did interesting with working because they had to, break on 5 counts, and they couldn't really use any, weapons or things, but they were using the environment in ways that would sort of circumvent, the referee's thing. If you pull up the padding on the outside of the ring, and then several minutes later, you just happen to give Brody King a vertebreaker on the concrete. Can you really disqualify a man for that? I don't know. That's the referee's discretion.
Of course not.
But in any case, so interestingly worked match within the parameters. Several house calls to Brody King finally put him down. And then Swerve is going to, continue afterwards. Now that the rules are no longer an obstacle, he's going to probably try to kill Brody King until Kenny comes out and runs him off. The big return of Kenny Omega, which is not that big. He hasn't only been gone a couple weeks, but he's back.
I think it was more of a swerve for, I guess, maybe Sean Ross and Dave Meltzer. I'm not putting words in their mouths, but they were trying to swerve the Marktards that Kenny's in Japan doing the convention and stuff like that. He was not supposed to be there, so I guess they were trying to fan that flames, and then this was supposed to be a big pop. I didn't get the big pop, it worked for the match. It was good that Kenny Omega returned to save Brody King, but I'll just say this match didn't need to be on pay-per-view. This was a good Dynamite main event or a Collision main event.
Well, I think we have better matches that are candidates for Dynamite or Collision main events. You could have sold me on this being, depending on the card, you could have told me this belonged on it, and it's fine. Because you got a main eventer and somebody that you recently have had around the main event. So to leave them off a pay-per-view would seem kind of strange. But we definitely have some extraneous matches later. So
that's the
yeah. Any thoughts on this, Jimmy, or you just going to keep arguing with Final Boss about shit from 30 years ago?
Nah. Again, I agree with Prof. I think this is more of a Dynamite Collision type of match. I didn't understand why it's so personal for Swerve over then who's the most dangerous friggin' goose in AEW. And
No,
me
Brody.
personally,
No, Jimmy. Brody made it personal because he did not like Swerve calling himself the most dangerous man because Brody felt he was
it's too
a
stupid
dangerous
anyway.
man himself.
It's
Hey,
like,
you got to start. You got to start somewhere. I'm not even disputing why they're fighting, but again, and of course, what Swerve did to Kenny made Brody feel some type of way, and Brody wants to be an AEW champion or wants some kind of title, so you got to beat the best. Swerve is one of the best, and he was going after the AEW title. I have no problem with that. I'm just saying this is a Dynamite main event, in my humble opinion.
I also think this. I think Swerve. I don't know, man. I think he's losing momentum personally for me now. I know he's probably going to get elevated anyway, but it just felt. I don't know, man. This match didn't really even need to be happening, in my opinion. That's just me, but yeah.
Come on, just dance, Jimmy. Just do the do the Swerve. All right, you'll be happy.
Next is 2 out of 3 falls for the AEW Women's Championship. Tekla versus Chris Statlander. First fall is a dirty pin by Tekla. She grabbed the ropes. The cheater. Second fall, Saturday Night Fever. We're tied at 1 apiece. And then in the third fall, due to some Dark Sisters interference and some other shenanigans and, Habit-Hay and Snabits and whatnot. 2 stomps and Statlander's out.
Dark Tekla wins. Fatality.
No post-match, no other return from somebody in the women's division, no nothing, just you had your match and get on with it. I
was waiting for Mercedes. I was waiting for the Mercedes to come out, and the fans was going to go crazy and chant CEO and just point, But again, certain things are happening overseas for that to not happen. So that's what.
And she lost another championship, right?
I think she lost 2 more.
So how many she got left now?
3.
Okay.
So, speaking of championships and potential Collision Dynamite main events, the Trios Championship is on the line when the Don Callis family defends against Mysticock. And Kevin Knight hits the UFO splash on Mark Davis. Who else? And new. And guess what? If you thought that was going to get Jimmy to choke and spit, Mystico is all elite. He's another dual contracted wrestler getting 2 paychecks.
And that damn song bit.
Yeah, we can hear that damn song now.
Jesus Christ.
The best wrestling entrance theme ever.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I enjoyed this match. I'm not going to lie. It was actually it was quite fun.
But this one is the one that doesn't belong on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, again, it shouldn't belong, but it was a fun match. It was.
Yeah.
It was. But I just don't agree with the winners here, though. Especially how.
Oh, come on! You can't have Mystico. What do you want to say? You want Mystico to be laying, beaten, and broken, and a loser in the middle of the ring? Just everybody standing over him with their foot on his chest, and then they put up the All Elite graphic for Mystico like that. Of course, they can't do that.
Fireworks and everything.
That would have been funny though if they did. Like, damn, and Tony Schiavone's like, fans, we thought this would have a more of a happy connotation, but.
And you're right, Final Boss. It was 0 selling, but it's all right. It's fine. It's Steve Six. You know what I mean? Especially Davis looks good in this match, but it's all irrelevant now.
Next match that doesn't belong on this. Bandito versus Andrade.
Oh, God.
The best part of this match, okay? I don't think anybody's going to complain if we just gloss over this, but I do have to say the best part of this, if you didn't end up watching it, I would recommend that you actually find it and just watch this part. Bandito tries to mock Andrade's taking off of his pants, and he can't get the pants off. So Andrade just has to come and nail him.
Good. I'm glad.
So he realized, hey, I'm just standing this guy watching him trying to get the pants off his leg, which I've never seen somebody struggle with tearaway clothes like this. This must have been a rib. Like Andrade must have stapled that shit in the back when nobody was looking, like Owen Hart style, and then just nailed him. Just fucking, it was almost a shoot. So yeah, that was funny. But he does, of course, win with a super DM. Yeah.
The fact that the fans chanted for Andrade to take his pants off got me though, man. I'm like, really?
And he did. He eventually did when the time was right. And he calmly removed his pants.
Right. No
and
rush.
Everybody was happy. Including that plant lady that, got the phone number and everything.
Plant, the first plant he wasn't impressed with, but the second one he was definitely impressed with and gave his number out.
Yeah. Okay, next match that doesn't belong. Trios. Conglomeration versus the Dogs. And
this is the worst match.
Orange Cassidy over. Yeah, this nobody can make a case for this being on the pay-per-view. So if you just excise these past three matches, I think everything would have been probably fine. But really, there was no reason for any of this. And again, I don't think you guys really have anything to say about it. So we're going to go right to the main event. It is Hang Person Adam Page with little sparkly pants versus MJF, little Terry Funk pants, and a video of him pissing on Adam Page's grave. This is another blood match, the guaranteed blood match. So we're either up to 3 or 4, I think, at this point.
I think 4, maybe 3.
Yeah, if Professor took the over,
I took the
afraid,
over. I was thinking more. Yeah.
Pay up. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll skip to the end, but you guys can go backwards and say what you thought of it because everybody else has their opinions on it. But Adam Page was hanged by the neck until he was dead, and MJF retains. Jimmy, I'll start with you.
How can I start? I mean, I hated this match straight up. Okay. We've already seen what's wrong with Hangman? Is he a sicko? No pun intended, or pun intended, maybe.
I think the phrase is empty-headed dipshit, but
all that there's that too. I mean, he seems to love needle spots. This wasn't the first time, I believe, if I remember correctly, that we've seen a similar needle spot.
He did that to Swerve, Jimmy,
right?
With the needle.
Like, I can't see this being MJF's idea, right? I don't see MJF going, hey, I got an idea. Like, I'm going to get a needle. I'm going to stick it right through your mouth. And
no, but it was definitely his idea for him not to be the one getting the needle in the mouth.
100%. But I blame Page for all of this.
Sure.
And hopefully we don't see Page anywhere near that damn belt anymore, which I'm sure that's a load of shit already.
At least for a while. At least we get to enjoy it for a while.
Let's hope so. But fuck this match. I couldn't get into it, man. Especially after all the bullshit. Call me soft. I don't know, man. Not even ECW was this extreme. I don't need this shit. It just threw me right off.
Well, not just extreme, Professor, but phony.
The things that I did actually like in this match.
Oh,
it was more about MJF's comedic presence in it because he was like, I'm not going to do any of this indie bullshit. He took the street sweeper, he took the broom and like brushed the glass up. I like that spot. The certain, and again, paying homage to Terry Funk, I actually like that. I wish that, if he was really keen on his marketing, somebody in AEW should have marketed a shirt like MJF FU, one of those kind of shirts just for this match. It is what it is, Jimmy. I agree with you on the needle spot. I wasn't a fan of it, but if Hang Person is taking time off, he wrote himself off good. He died. He died in the ring with it was apropos that he choked out Moxley at All In Texas, and then the match that he wanted, the match that he was the master of, if we look at it from the macro sense, MJF took him out of his own match. He rules the Texas Death Match, circa.
Is it believable there?
I didn't say it was believable. I'm just giving you the story. He took him out of his own match.
I think it's very telling and emblematic of our bigger issue as far as like where we sit as professional wrestling fans, that you have a spot like MJF sweeping glass out of the ring, which, yes, if you look at it again, a la carte, that's funny and it's entertaining. But if you looked at it in the sense of we're supposed to buy this, having comedy in this match doesn't work. So essentially, there's a reason why I don't watch things for the sake of, I don't watch a demolition derby because I just want to see cars crash. I'm not that twisted. I don't watch, torture porn or whatever because I like to see people getting hurt. I just don't. And not only are you, but the thing is, we're talking about something that's obviously fake, but they're actually doing it, like the needle. Like if you stab somebody through the cheek with a needle, like, yeah, you did that. I mean, nobody was going to let you do it if this was real. Like if you see a guy with a syringe coming at you or whatever, you're not going to just let him, you're not just going to sit there calmly on the mat and let him do it to you. So you're doing real things in the fakest way possible, as Jim Cornette would say. And it's just, it would be like, and I always use the magic analogy because magician is the closest analogy to what we do as professional wrestlers. We're trying to trick you into believing something that can't be real, but then we want you to question it. So when you take the box and you put the lady in the box and you saw the box and then you pull the box apart and it looks like the lady's in half, you're supposed to go, I know he didn't saw that lady in half. How did he do that? That's crazy. You put the box back together, open the box, ta-da, lady's fine. And then as the audience, you're like, damn, how'd he do that? I don't know how he did that, but he did it. You don't really believe that real magic was performed, like he cast a spell. You just don't know the trick, but it looked to you like the lady was sawed in half. So Adam Page and MJF go out there and just saw a lady in half, and that's it. Or it's not a real lady, don't worry, it's like a blow-up doll, but they sawed it in half for real. It's fine.
Let's not discount. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, let's not discount the blood preceding that. FTR and Young Bucks were bleeding, and other matches preceding that bleeding. This match, we expect the violence, we expect the blood, but when you have that was the thing that kind of pissed me off with FTR and the Bucks is like, why the hell are they bleeding? They're technicians. They didn't need to bleed. There was no reason to bleed. Even if you could try with all the pomp and circumstance with the family member and the brother and shit like that, I'm like, you just wanted to bleed just to upstage a lot of people within this card. And of course, the dogs in that match, you're right, didn't need to be on pay-per-view, but guess what? What was it? Gabe Kidd was bleeding. They did a lot of shit outside that was very violent. So then you took the mystique of the violence from that match, and then this match is like, okay, you're just overdoing it, overbearing it, rinse and repeat and shit like that. That's
right. Of course. I mean, sorry, but this is a common complaint levied against AEW, and I would actually argue that Revolution was one of the least egregious examples of this. I mean, it's just that we've scrubbed from our memory all the many times on pay-per-views they've had, horrible hardcore matches and grudge matches and, whatever matches where, you built up to something like an Anarchy in the Arena, but then you also had several other matches that were fighting all outside the ring and everything. They always do this, and we always say the same thing every time they do it. Mm-hmm. It's silly to believe that you could have multiple matches on a card, and again, if wrestling was real, how is any of these people not bleeding in every match? So, I get it, but that's the fault of the booker for putting the card together, and it's the fault of the wrestlers for not knowing their place in it. Because if you book me on the card, if it's up to me and my match, and I know what other matches are on the card, then yes, I'm going to make my match different. But they don't care. They just look at it as, well, I'm getting my shit in, and that's it. It's not my fault you put me on this card, so I'm just going to do it,
Also, Vet, Again, just what you said. I applaud you. And Jimmy, did you all notice that within this revolution, I think like 3 or 4 matches the most. I didn't even put it over or under on this, but the spot where they kicked out at one. I know whatchamacallit, one of the Bucks kicked out at one. I
Mhm.
think Storm kicked one. Like, what the hell? I mean, again, this is the point. I mean, I hate to be that clinical and cynical, but you're right. I'm just saying, like, my partner, Tommy Wonder, told me this. They were in the locker room. In fact, probably you too in OVW. You all talked with each other like, look, I'm gonna work on the leg in match 1. Who's working on the leg? I'm work. That's it. Okay, so match 1, I'll work on the leg, and maybe match 4, you work on the leg. Match 2 and 3, y'all better not work on the leg. Y'all better work on an arm. Y'all better work on the neck or something like that.
Yep.
Make the variations, make it look different. We all
not only that, but even with that, because we would do that, or it would be already on the board. Like our match would be on the board with body parts circled. So we didn't, it wasn't even up to us. But the thing is, even with that, I still watch all the matches just in case. Just if they did a headlock spot, I didn't want to go out there and do the same headlock spot. So I had to watch all their matches. I couldn't just be on my phone tweeting, So that's the whole thing. This is kind of how it is, and I don't want to sound like one of those back in my day. I didn't really have a day. This is their day. They're the wrestlers. I used to wrestle. There's kind of a difference, but that's kind of what gets a chip on my shoulder sometimes, because it's like I walked away from this stuff and you guys are carrying it forward, and this isn't how it was supposed to be. So, and then the fans get educated on that in that way. Like there's an entire generation of wrestling fans that were educated by Young Bucks matches. The people that think they're one of the greatest tag teams of all time, because what else do they have to compare it to? That's what they know wrestling as. They know wrestling as a million kickouts. They know wrestling as no tagging in tag matches. They know wrestling as burying the ref. They know wrestling as, a bunch of moves, every move that you've ever seen in one match. That's all they know wrestling as. So when somebody tries to work a normal match, it's boring to them. I mean,
and that's a fact too, because I've seen it myself. That they are a new generation of wrestling fans that actually don't have a clue about the past, and they don't care about the past.
That's why it's my life's work, Jimmy, to make sure y'all are educated on FTR being the greatest tag team ever, and do the right matches. I'll show them the right matches, not the wrong matches, not the AEW match. I'm talking about the NXT black and gold matches. Those were the right matches.
They've also been influenced, Prof, unfortunately now.
It can't be the right matches, because that's when I started hating them. All right. So anyway, we got a lot to do. It's Dynamite time. Revolution recap takes 2 minutes and a half right off the top of the show. Very nice. I think the recap for Revolution was longer than the Divine Dominion match. So that's good. And we're starting out with Ospreay versus Blake Christian.
The swell man.
Well, that lasts less time than the recap also.
That lasted more. I'm sorry. That was too long.
It did.
Yeah, you're right. It too long. It should have looked exactly like what he did to Moxley at the pay-per-view. Come in, hidden blade, 1, 2, 3. I mean, standby match. We're starting off with a standby match. We're kicking off the show with a standby match. And he grabs, the mic and calls out the people's champ. No, not Dwayne Johnson. And then, they all come, Pac gives Will Ospreay, jumps him, gives Will Ospreay the brutalizer. Security comes in. Bang Bang does an entrance. While they're doing the entrance, Ospreay chases down Pac from his beating. He's fine now. And they go fight off to the back. So now we have Ace and Juice versus Yuta and Mox, and we give a Death Rider to Ace Austin. That's your hot start to Dynamite.
This match was pretty quick too, man. I felt like I'm talking about the Moxley match with Juice and all that. What are they doing to this Bullet Club Gold now at this point? They're just nobodies, man. until Jay White comes back, if he ever comes back at this point.
You didn't say it the right way, Jimmy. Say it the right way. Say it the right way. I know you want to say it the right way.
Where are we going with this shit? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. Say it the right way. You know you want.
Where are we going with this shit when it comes to them?
Yes.
No, but that's a real question.
Let me just say this. I don't want to go backwards, but if and I'm not, and hopefully I'm not shilling because I don't know if anybody in the Hamid chat saw the press conference. There's no reason for Ospreay to get a match with Blake Christian unless he like stormed on the podium, right? This is the only way I can like and be angry with Tony, like, bruv, I want somebody, I want competition, I want somebody, give me somebody. Now, if Tony Khan said, you got it, I'll give you whatever, I'll give you such and such for Dynamite, you will have your match, I'm cool with that. But if you want to promote Will Ospreay coming back after 6 months, he didn't need no standby match. He didn't even need a warm-up match. He just needed a microphone and talk for 5 minutes. And the Death Rider could come out and still do the same shit. You wasted a Will Ospreay return. That's the thing I'll say. As far as the Bang Bang Gang, Jimmy, as you so eloquently put it, we just saw the shit I've been complaining about with the Death Riders. Right. And now Jon Moxley is turning. He was so good. He was the people's champion. And now the sickos, just like the seals they are, earth. You want to boo them? Go ahead, boo them, sickos. But don't let Jimmy neuralizes me every week, Hami Nice. He neuralizes me, but it just doesn't last long. I just want to remind people of what Jon Moxley has been doing. And then for the sickos to just say, oh, boo. It's not fluid. You can't be fluid with heel and babyface turns. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I know it's so fluid right now because I'm not doing the back in my day, at least it was consistent. I'm adapting, vet. Don't get me wrong, I'm adapting, but the seals of the sickos is not going to convince me on this shit.
No.
Speaking of sickos, I'm just looking at the size of my notes here and realizing why did I write so much. All right, so we get a package for Gabe and Darby just to catch everybody up. And I'm not going to let Final Boss just continue to sit here in the chat and lie to the people by saying things like AEW doesn't have promos, because Gabe Kidd cuts a live promo right here saying, meet me in the parking lot. Yeah. So, come on. And then after that, Kenny Omega challenges Swerve for his contendership. That's also a promo. Then the coffin match between Gabe and Darby starts cinematically with Darby stuffing Gabe Kidd in a trunk and flipping the car.
Oh, that was something.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened. Then he loads him onto like an anvil case and pushes him in the building, and they have their coffin match. And my favorite part about this coffin match was the finish, not only because I didn't have to watch it anymore, but the first time this has ever happened, a dive literally won the match. Darby Allin did his suicide dive, knocked Gabe into that coffin and shut it. Ding, ding.
And dong.
It's never happened before. We see a million of them. And all the old heads say, oh, you never win a match with it. Well, it finally happened.
And that was it.
Yeah. You guys have any thoughts on it, Jimmy?
There was blood again, just quietly.
There's a different night. It's okay.
I'm just saying, right. No, I mean, look, I can't stand Gabe Kidd or any of these kids or whatever the fuck. I'm glad Darby won. But I hate to say this again. But where are we going with Darby now, even?
No.
Come on. Seriously.
Well, no, he actually said where he's going. He actually did say where he's going.
Well,
That's true. He did.
He did at the end of the match, right? He did.
Yeah, he told Maxwell Jacob Freedom he's coming for you, sucker.
Yeah, so now he wants the world championship suddenly?
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Now? After freaking rejecting everything when the end of his story arc originally was to win the championship, and then we're done.
No. I'm going to neuralize you, Jimmy. Don't do this. Don't do this to Darby. He wants the title. All I'll just say, Vet, maybe I'm wrong on this, but this is why I wanted the dogs to win at Revolution, because then maybe you could get the revenge that Darby got on Gabe for this coffin match. Maybe I'm just looking at it from that cynical standpoint. Like, why did the dogs lose? What kind of revenge does Darby need? Because he actually he tied up Gabe Kidd in the fucking match on Sunday. So who actually initiated this match? Was it Gabe who wanted this match, Jimmy? Maybe it's that press conference I missed.
If you saw what was going on beforehand over the last few weeks, they were kidnapping each other. I mean, they kidnapped Darby when he was just skateboarding randomly outside, if you remember. And they
I think this is the rare case of just Tony wanted to see it. He thought it was the right move. But finally he makes a match.
There was a thing between them, though, at least, if you want to call it that.
Yes. Let's see. Anything else, Professor, on that coffin match?
No, I'm cool.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Luchasaurus picks up the special ed kid and drops him off with the other special ed kids, that being the Young Bucks. More on that later.
Jurassic Bucks. Is that what's going on now?
Yep. And he also said bitch, referring to Okada, like Luchasaurus said bitch, referring to Okada's catchphrase. So
hey,
I guess technically that's a promo too. It's a dinosaur promo, one-word dinosaur promo. Prince Nana does a promo introing Swerve.
A lot of promos.
Yeah. So Kenny wants the number one contendership, and Swerve has a counter offer. Yeah. Okay, you can have my number one contendership if you beat me, but if I beat you, I want an EVP job. So put the EVP job on the line, and now we got something.
This doesn't make sense, though, guys. Why is it up to him? Maybe Tony doesn't want him to be EVP.
Well, Tony agreed because the graphic was made very shortly, so I guess he thought it was a good idea and he loved it.
Well, it's so dumb, Tony.
Come on. What, you didn't want to see Swerve as an EVP? I think there's a lot of TV we could do with that. I mean, all kidding aside, they're going to make it lame, but I mean, as a professor would say, as far as what he'd like to see if it could be done well, having Swerve in an EVP thing brings a lot more interesting television for the coming weeks and months than Kenny Omega gets a title shot.
Actually, no, Jimmy, think about it this way. Like that said, no kidding aside, Swerve would be a great on-screen EVP, changing the matches, changing wins and shit like that, implementing himself on title situations. He doesn't even. Let's look at it hypothetically, right? Jimmy, think about it this way. I'm already in the finals of the Owen Hart because I'm the EVP. You face me. Right. The winner faces me in the finals of the Owen Hart. You don't have to work at it. He could already put himself in there. Do certain shit like that. And of course, you fuck with Brody King. You fuck with Kenny Omega in their matches, in their quest to be the to get a future shot at the AEW World Title. And you can mess with Darby too, since he wanted to be that. So again, and then maybe you could do some. This would make Tony. I don't know if Vet will. I don't know if Vet will agree with this, but then you need Tony Khan to actually be on TV more, having kind of like back and forth between Swerve and Tony. Kind of. I know. I'm when I'm thinking about it, I don't like it because Tony Khan cannot act. I understand this, Army Night, but you need somebody. You got the protagonist and the antagonist in the EVP in power struggles.
I'm sorry, but neuralizing you once again.
Go ahead, you can neuralize me, but again, it makes sense.
Hypnotize you, neuralize you. All right. Renee is with Speedball, and he has a message. If you believe in yourself, you can accomplish things. I mean, it's a unique message. I've never heard it before. I'm glad Speedball finally told me that. All right. Well, it's March Madness, guys, and what better way to celebrate March Madness than Dunk versus Ball? It's Dunkzilla versus Speedball, and this is actually since so we had a pay-per-view match to decide who was the most dangerous man in AEW. Mm-hmm. Well, Swerve won that and proved that he was. I don't know where that puts Brody in the rankings, but as far as like the shoot most dangerous man in AEW, this is a competition for second place because obviously Kyle Fletcher already beat Speedball and claimed his title as the shoot most dangerous man. So now Speedball has to take on the next most dangerous man, his partner, his former Aussie Open partner, Mark Davis. So these guys have a match to see who's the second shoot most dangerous wrestler in AEW.
No, Vet. This is like bracketology. This is like the number 1 seed, Kyle Fletcher against maybe the number 4 seed in Mike Bailey and stuff like that. So it's the seedings now of who's the most dangerous man.
Seedings.
Well, if you think I'm just a guy that does these bits just to be funny and I'm not actually giving these guys a fair shake or whatever you think, I'm not saying any of you guys think that, but just to prove what I'm saying, Mark Davis gave Mike Bailey an Orange Crush on the apron. Now, if you guys don't know what the Orange Crush is, it's like a power bomb from a vertical suplex position. So imagine holding a guy on the apron in the vertical suplex position and then just bringing him down onto the apron like that. It's a wonder Mike Bailey's alive. But
doesn't matter. He means
he does come back and just win. He not only did he win, he kicked out of the pile driver after that, which that's the pile driver that if Mark Davis is ever allowed to win a match, that's the move he does it with. And no, not tonight. He gets up, hits him with the ultimate weapon, you know? So, yeah, it's also an REM song. That's probably, and a soda. It's all these things. Yeah, but there you go.
Seriously, Mark Davis, he shouldn't lose to a speedball called Mike Bailey. Like, seriously, come on. It's not
no, Jimmy. What did I say last week? Who is more original and has more character depth between Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey? Non-binary Mike Bailey. The man who looks like an 80s karate guy, like Vet said last week.
Does.
He's got the look. He's got the total package. This man is, I see, future champion. He's a future TNT champion.
I'm telling you, they
are. Tony sees something more than maybe. Tony sees something. That's all I'm gonna say. Vet, move on, please.
He believed in himself.
Yes,
he believed in himself hard enough, and he kicked out of a pile driver, and he survived an Orange Crush on the apron.
Believed in himself, no worries.
Yeah, he told us. He told us it was up to us to listen, and if you didn't, all right. After Revolution, MJF cut a promo. I mean, it was good. But that's another promo. Final boss.
There's a lot of promos on
Marina versus Mina. Okay, now this was probably supposed to be Tony Storm in the rematch, but Tony Storm was found out cold in the dressing room. Who did this? Death Riders? Maybe Death Riders? Maybe. I mean, they've known the Callis family.
There's 5 suspects, Vet, because they left Easter eggs everywhere. It was like either Marina did it, Mercedes did it, Megan Bain did it, and the stalker who giving Tony Storm flowers did it. So they're trying to leave you clues as to who did it for the next year.
Whoever it is a diabolical genius, throwing us all off the trail. Wow. But anyways, guess what? Marina did a promo right before. It's like saying whatever I did or didn't do to Tony Storm, blah blah blah. You know, so that's fine. Mina came out. I was like, is she gonna dance? She did not dance. She had a barbed wire bat instead of dancing. So she brings that in. And they have a match. And there's some champagne involved, in which that actually plays into the finish. Champagne smash, strong 0. Mina used her best lover friend bomb thing to win the match. So hey, a win for Mina because it was supposed to be Tony, but we're going with the Mina win.
And she hardly ever wins too, so I'm actually happy that she actually got a win. But is this bad for Marina though?
I'm not gonna say nothing. I said
he said his piece earlier during the pay-per-view.
Right. My piece.
Yeah. And of course, Jimmy says, "Where are we going with this?" So yeah.
No, it's just that.
No, I know you're. I mean, you're right. You know,
I just
it's what are you going to do at Marina? The only thing I can say is the only excuse I can offer is what I always offer and what I've already offered earlier in the show. A heel can do no wrong. So whatever.
fine.
I mean, it took a champagne bottle and a pile driver to beat her. You know, she didn't believe in herself like Mike Bailey, so she couldn't kick out of the pile driver. Renee witnesses a money deal where MJF has brokered this thing through Don Callis and John Cruz. Don Callis is on somebody's smartphone giving instructions to Andrade to accept this briefcase full of money from John Cruz, from MJF. And he acts like he doesn't want to because it's MJF money. He feels like that's dirty money and he doesn't want it. But I don't know. That briefcase full of money can buy a lot of pants. So,
Well, he
all right.
accepted the payoff.
Yep. Jungle Bucks versus Callis family.
I was done. Right?
Yeah, everybody's done. Everybody's tapped out. Nobody's watching. So the Bucks beat Rocky Romero, and then they grab the mic and they swear to God, and you know it means something because their beliefs, that no one can stop them from getting the titles. I'm sure God appreciates being brought into this. And then CSC Music Factory come out and they answer, and they say, "Hey, we respect you, and you had one of the best matches ever that we've ever laid eyes on." That's what Edge said. He said, "The best matches we ever laid eyes on." Just why are you lying? What are you lying to these people? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We all know Edge is fucked, and he's beyond deserving any respect at this point. But he's like, "But sorry guys that you had a great match, but we get FTR at Dynasty." So yeah. And then FTR feeds in to get beat up, and then after FTR's, running away like scalded dogs, we get a little lady in a double lady in the tramp spot with the Bucks and the CSC Music Factory grabbing the belts. Oh,
Long term,
extremely long term. As a matter of fact, it's personal for Cage because them becoming tag champions means he makes a bit of moolah.
A little bit of money.
That's the story.
That is your Dynamite. Now we were blessed with a half a Collision. I mean, there will be another half tonight as we're recording this live here. Right now it is Sunday, March 22nd, and it is 9:54 a.m. Pacific time and 12:54 Eastern time. But as we record this, there's another Collision tonight. In the spirit of March Madness, slam dunk Collision. So here's your first half. Strong Orange versus Lethal Shoddy.
Wow.
What, Jimmy, you're not impressed with this?
Oh, I'm impressed.
Barn burner of a contest? Actually, I mean, even though they did the usual thing where they bury the ref, I thought the match was good. I mean, it was a fun match. They had a nice match. It's just that it's a la carte. You have to just be like, I'm just going to watch this match. And then, okay, yeah, that's good. But you're asking yourself, where the hell since when has Jay Lethal been part of the swirl, the Lethal swirl? Why is it not the actual swirl wrestling here? Is it probably because Blake Christian just got his ass beat so bad by Will Ospreay, no one ever wants to see him in a ring again, so we had to get Jay Lethal in here? Is it just that they wanted people who knew what they were doing, so they put Roderick Strong and Jay Lethal in there to sort of captain this thing? Whatever it is, we got a nice match, but nobody would care. And guess who gets a mic to cut a promo? Roderick Strong. That's right. Roderick Strong explains that he'd been saying for a long time we needed a change, but he finally realized the change needed to be from me. So he is officially part of the conglomeration. And everybody in the audience cheers. And then Finley and Clark show up on the screen and say, it's dog time or whatever they say, whatever their catchphrase is. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if you guys watched this, so I could just we're almost done here, which is the great part about all this.
I actually saw it through my AEW app. I did not see this match that you're talking about with Strong, so I didn't see that. Mine started with Robbie. Mine started with Robbie Eagles against Kyle Fletcher.
And Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, I must have my feed must have cut that out. So yes, Kyle Fletcher versus Robbie Eagles also happened. That's right. I remember seeing that because I clicked the live link and then I saw that match going on. And I was like, oh, I'm going back to bed. So what happened in that one?
Oh, this was the student against the teacher, as Fletcher was
Robbie
the student.
Eagles being the teacher.
Even though I called him Robbie Amore because the way he looked like Enzo Amore in this match because his hair was all poofy and out like that. So it was a strong win for Kyle Fletcher just to show how dominant he is as one of the best TNT champions of all time.
Now, this match went for damn 27 minutes, man.
Well, you have to give respect. You have to give respect to the teacher, Jimmy. You have to remember that.
This was a long match, but yeah, Kyle Fletcher does win, of course, and retains.
Is the Strong Orange match after that?
That never happened. It wasn't even on my feed.
Wasn't on my feed either. Well, that's what I'm confused. Why did Vic get it and we didn't?
Wait a minute. Did you guys? Okay, what was the next match then?
The next match was John Moxley had a promo. It was a promo with John Moxley talking about Will Ospreay being heelish and devilish. What was the next match? It was a trios match.
Trios match, yeah.
LFI minus Sammy Guevara, because I don't know where the hell he's been for months, against what's the hell is his name? Alpha Zoe, Dom Kubrick, and Lucas Riley. That was a standby match. If you
and
what?
Mortos.
Yeah, I said, where's Sammy Guevara?
Yeah, okay. I didn't hear you say that, so.
Wait a minute.
My bad.
Did I watch the other half of Slam Dunk Collision? What the fuck happened?
You probably did.
So you're telling me you didn't watch any of this?
No, he watched the other half.
I went to my website.
No shit.
I went to Collision. It had the link, the Daily Motion link said full show. I clicked full show.
Oh, I only got part one. I only watched part one.
Me too. I only got part one.
You might have got the whole thing.
What the fuck?
So wait, are they doing two-hour collisions?
No, it was 1 hour on Saturday. It's 1 hour tonight.
Well, that's not enough time because my whole thing took an hour. So I must have watched I must have watched tonight's early.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
How the fuck would that even happen?
Okay, spoilers. Yeah, everything I said about Strong Orange, all that spoilers. So, okay, Professor, what else was the rest of this show?
Well, like I said, LFI.
This is awesome. We're doing it live.
Sammy Guevara took care of three jobbers that I don't know about. We got a promo with Tekla talking about did she do anything with Timeless Tony Storm being out for almost a year, and Tekla kind of said, "Well, Tony Storm is a great actress, Jaime Nights, so she did this herself. She did the greatest act of all time, acting like she was scared of me. So she got herself injured and shit like that." Did I miss anything, Jimmy, with that promo, or kind of said it in a nutshell?
She just goes on that Tekla says that Storm staged the entire attack that happened on Dynamite and ran and went home.
Then after that, we got the Brawling Birds against. Go ahead, Jimmy.
The Sisters of Sin.
Now, Ved, I'll say this. Everything that happened with the Inspiration didn't happen here. So we actually got a match, and the Brawling Birds won.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very strong win for the Brawling Birds.
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting to see a win of any kind, a weak win for the Dark Sisters, if anything. But all right, was that the main event?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. We got another promo.
We got another promo. Brody King wants gold. You know, it was a pit stop at Revolution with Swerve, but he still is on the hunt for gold.
He's got his choice of about 10 belts.
Yeah. And the main event was the Death Riders of Daniel Garcia and the newly losing CMLL champion who lost to Hechicero. They announced that. Claudio Castagnoli against Commander and Mascara Dorada. That was your main event on night 1 of
Okay,
Slam Dunk
wait
Saturday.
a fucking minute. I got a lot of questions. First of all, what? Hechicero is the CMLL champion?
Yes. He won in
Fuck
Mexico.
yeah. This is huge news.
Yeah.
Also, did you guys know, here's another piece of side news. Claudio Castagnoli has a CMLL contract now. Did you know that?
Dual contract. Yes, he does.
He's officially part of CMLL as well.
And their first act as him being under their contract, get the belt off this guy. Apparently.
And the mask.
Even Hechicero did that magic trick we talk about, and poof, Claudio's belt was gone. That's tight. I gotta start watching CMLL.
Well, the good thing is we don't have to watch the hour number 2 now, thanks to you, Van.
I'm gonna spoil the whole thing. It's gonna be great.
I have no idea what was going
Anything else, Professor?
Death Riders won, and Daniel Garcia choked out. What was it? Mascara Dorada outside the ring. So it was a very defining win for Death Riders to keep that momentum going.
And the best part about that is, even if I had seen this, I wouldn't have seen this because I have a Daniel Garcia in the main event rule. If Daniel Garcia goes on last, it's disavowed. So there was no way I was going to see this.
He went on last, so.
Okay. Okay, so what I saw, apparently somebody fucked up somewhere and uploaded the taped portion that they weren't supposed to upload, but that's what I'm here for. So, like I said, Slam Dunk Collision, I already told you, it's Strong Orange versus, Lethal Shoddy, which is Jay Lethal and Lee Johnson, and, Vanilla Boy on the outside. Like I said, it's a good match. Finley and Clark do a promo on the screen at the end, whatever. Next match, Alex Gracia and Viperous versus Divine Dominion. Viperous was dressed like, you guys remember the little homies capsule toys from a couple decades ago? You put a quarter in the machine and get like a little cholo or whatever.
Yeah.
Remember those homies?
Something similar to me, not a little cholo, but still.
Well, yeah, I don't know if they were in Australia, but maybe the professor remembers. But and some of the people in the chat probably remember the homies. That's what Viperous was dressed like. But she was quickly beaten up, and she got. But Viperous actually got a pop just for putting her hair up. Like putting her hair up and squaring up, and she then got put down by Divine Dominion, and they have a new team pose, where they hold the belt up with one arm and stick their other arm out to the side. So it makes like an L. I mean, you have to see them do it. Anyways, and then the main event was Tommaso Ciampa versus Dark Leo Rush.
Yeah, I did not see this.
Right. So now we get a little bit more of the gimmick, and you get the announcers confusingly trying to explain it, but they're also confused as the professor, like Tony Schiavone and them are just like, last time we saw Leo Rush, he definitely wasn't doing this. And so they're selling it, which means that if there was ever anything put out on social media or on Ring of Honor or anything like that, I'm not aware of it. They're pretending they're not aware of it, or they weren't aware of it. But Leo Rush comes out like doing a weird, like, I believe the word Gollum was thrown around a couple of times. He's like, yes. Just doing this weird, and there's no explanation for it. So, like, I don't mind if you want to switch up characters, but I think if you're going to go so drastically different, there should be like a gradual. We should have seen signs. It should have had Action Andretti being like, "Are you okay?" Like things, things like that. But we didn't. He just whole new gimmick, and he basically wrestles exactly the same as he always does, except he does like a gallop, like a four-legged gallop around the ring, and he also when he's selling, he says things like, "Yeah."
No, are you fucking with me? Are you serious? That's it.
Well, you'll just have to look. You just have to go tonight, But you'll just have to look tonight and see, because it is worth a look, Jimmy. So I will say,
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, just this is something. And in typical Tommaso Ciampa fashion, he's just gonna have the same indie match he would have with anybody, regardless of their gimmick or their spot on the card or, you know, whatever. He's just going to have their match where they do a bunch of stuff. There was a cool part where, I say cool in a way because of the timing of it, but you know how Lio Rush does a springboard stunner? So he goes to do the bounce back off the springboard and Tommaso hits his lame ass knee, you know, but he caught him out of the air and the crowd was like, ooh, and then that would have been a good time to beat him.
Yeah.
And he kicked out and they went for like 5 more minutes. So it's like, and then what do you think happened at the end? What do you think he won with at the end?
His knee?
Yeah, he won with his knee. So it's like a worse version of what he hit earlier because they had to get in some reversals and stuff and he had to make sure Lio Rush no-sold it and all this other stuff. So, you know, it's good. And then that wasn't the main event. That would have been a good main event. It wasn't the main event. The main event was Josh Alexander, Takeshita, and El Clone versus Mystikak. And they did stuff and Mistiwara armbar for the win on Clone.
Ooh.
And we
I know
still
you feel bad that seeing El Clone take that L like that.
Yeah. But it was the only choice, except for Josh Alexander.
Yeah.
But other than those two, he was the only choice. So that was your surprise Collision spoilers for tonight. So if you tune in, that's what you see. I will recommend, if you guys want to DVR it at home, or if you have the app like Professor, or however you want to go to the illegal site, you can watch it right now. Or unless they're taking it down, or you know, however you want to see it, it's worth checking out Lio Rush just so you can be like, what?
that is weird.
Or you don't have to wait for that. How many nights you just watch Bloodsport and just see the black guy in Bloodsport, and just picture him with a shaved head. That's it. Same thing.
Now, in fairness, what you will not see Lio Rush climb a tree and chop a coconut in half. Not on this match. I mean, that may be coming down the road, but for now,
like the black one from
See, now I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued because I want Action Andretti involved in this right now.
He was barely mentioned, if at all. I don't think they said his name.
He should be hanging in the Raptors. He needs to shave his head. He needs to be bald. Has the same kind of contact lenses and going like this. Look at him going. Look at him going.
He sounds like a freaking crackhead.
Whatever, Jimmy. Or like Vet says, maybe Action Andretti gets some TV time. Like, Leo, you all right? What are you doing? This is not you. This is not the crew. And wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I've been neuralized, Jimmy, but there was a woman, a part of the crew. I think it was that got released from NXT or Lacey James. I forget her name.
She was in AEW as well. I forgot her name. Layla Gray, whatever the freaking.
No, not Layla Gray.
Layla Gray's with Top Flight. Get it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, it was the chick with Canastaro or something like that. They were the tag team. She was with the crew.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Right. She was with the crew. Does she have a bald head now? Is she bald now with contacts? I want answers.
That's true. They would look like a tag team even if she didn't go bald just because of the eye contacts. Yeah, Lacey. I
don't know her real name.
Yeah, she's had a bunch of gimmick names. I can't keep all track. I'll also say this: as much as you would like to see Action Andretti, I would like to see all Lio Rush's kids be like, "Daddy, what's happening?" Like, show me that part. What's wrong with you, Daddy?
Could he be becoming some sort of zombie? Maybe.
So much possibilities, Jimmy. So much.
I just can't get my head out of the Bloodsport character now because it's pretty fucked up when you think about it.
Speaking of that, just real quick, side tangent. You hear they're remaking Bloodsport.
No.
They already made a bunch of sequels, unauthorized and authorized, and they also remade it several times when it was called Lionheart and when it was called The Quest and any other time that Jean-Claude Van Damme had to make a tournament fighting movie and they just couldn't think of any other ideas. There can only be one Bloodsport. It doesn't work any other context as that cheesy 80s-ness, you know? But anyway.
No. Nothing will beat the original anyway. And for anyone that doesn't know, Van Damme in Bloodsport is essentially Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly, because they thought they were going to get Jean-Claude Van Damme to be in Mortal Kombat, and he said, no.
Yeah, in the end, he went with Street Fighter, but he did initially agree to be playing that version of himself from Bloodsport in Mortal Kombat, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
Funny. It's all very funny. And that was all very AEW. Like, no matter what you want to say, this week was definitely very AEW.
Where's Frank Dukes?
They remained on brand, and we brought it in a reasonable amount of time.
We did, surprisingly.
And Kenny F. Powers, rewatch this because you see the professor rant, because there are certain things that pissed me the fuck off earlier in the show. I'm calm and cool now. I'm very calm and cool now because it's over.
That's right. We hit you with the Tommaso Ciampa knee, and you can just lay down.
Yes.
Yeah, that will neuralize you too, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just shocked that you watched hour number 2. We watched hour number 1, but
that was weird. But it worked out. It ended up being good content for us. See, that's why we are the best in the world, because we can just take something like that and make it even more entertaining than it is.
I thought I was tripping.
You would have listened to some other wrestling podcasters. They would have just been fumbling all over their notes, like, I didn't see that. Well, I might think. You imagine Wade Keller and the Pro Wrestling Torch having to deal with an incident like that? You would have had like 45 seconds of dead air. You would have had a bunch of mumbling, you know.
I'm just thinking Wade Keller. Jam, I haven't heard his shit in years now, man. I'm so done with Wade Keller. It's not as bad as Meltzer, though, but still.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jimmy, sign us off now.
Oh, fine. It's like that. Well, in saying that, well, fellas, I'm going to start with you first.
I'm keeping the flow going, Jimmy. I'm just keeping the flow going.
You're
no
right.
No dead air here.
We're going to do the hit you said, or like Vetti's doing right now. But in saying that, Vet, tell them what you're up to, what you're doing. You're jumping on the Twitch.
Oh, yes.
Where they can find you. I know it's opinion heavy everywhere, but I know you love doing your shtick, so tell them what's up.
All right. Opinion Haver everywhere, including twitch.tv/Opinion Haver, where you can see the archive, which I will try to upload it to my YouTube channel, which is also Opinion Haver. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I will upload the full ass beating of Jimmy T by me in Street Fighter 2 so that everyone can enjoy it. And so please go to either of those to find that. I assure you it will be thoroughly entertaining, at least for a little while, until it gets sad. And and just a question to everybody. There's no wrong answers. There's no heat. I'm just wondering out of curiosity's sake. Anybody that perhaps likes to enjoy these shows, but perhaps doesn't watch me on Twitch, if you could put in the chat, I'd like to know the reasons why you don't watch on Twitch. It's not to, I'm just curious. It's like a survey. It's like an opinion survey for Opinion Havers. So if you'd like to contribute to that would be great. Tell me the reasons why you don't check me out on Twitch. And as far as that goes, you know where to find me on HMG. All the shows next every Wednesday. The Wreckage every Sunday. Impact Attack coming up every Monday evening with Brandon. So please check those shows out. Check out Wrestling with Rick Rogers. Check out Stevie Richards' show. Check out Timmy Baltimore's Limpin' Ain't Easy. So much good stuff. Ken Patera was on Rich Rogers this week. We want to talk about some fun stories with Ken Patera. Check out that episode. Stevie Richards giving a review of 2K26. And Timmy Baltimore may have a new episode by the time you hear this. But that's enough for me. What about Professor?
Well, we've been on hiatus because executive producer extraordinaire Big Ray Hernandez was on vacation. So now he's back. So that means me and the Tommy Wonder has got to get back to work. So we're going to be working on the spotlight. So hopefully check that out this weekend coming up. I think we're going to be working on a spotlight worst wrestling gimmicks ever in professional wrestling history. We don't have the thumbnails of Jaime Night, so we're working on that right now as we speak. So just check us out and follow me on the Twitter at PWSOPROF. That's PWSOPROF. Or tell a friend to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Pro Wrestling Reflection.
Nice, very well put. As far as I go check out the Lunacy Review show that myself and Whooper Brandon do called Insanity, where we talk JCW. I know there's a JCW event on tonight. I suggested it to Brandon about possibly reviewing it maybe tonight, but I think we're going to wait till we do our next show and just cover it there. So look out for that. And of course, this Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, it's This Week in WWE with myself and R to the B to the V, where we talk all things WWE, of course. And yeah, that's about it. And of course, the Wreckage every Sunday morning, right here live on Jaime Really Good's YouTube channel, 11 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss out on that. And also check out Hitting the Marks, by the way, where LVP and Dr. Michael Jargo talk all things pro wrestling at, I think it's at 7 p.m. I think they go live Eastern. So on Tuesdays as well. It's RBB Tuesdays where he does This Week in WWE and of course Hitting the Marks. So check that out. And that's a wrap from me. Thank you to everybody that joined us tonight, or today, shall I say. It's always a pleasure. And until next time, I think we're out. I am Jimmy T. He's the best in the world, Jamie the Vet Williams. And he is the magnanimous and glorious Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. And you've been listening and watching the
Wreckage.
Boy. In saying that, we're out. Peace out. Much love. See yous.